Welcome back. You're watching Market Watch on CNBC Europe. A warm welcome to you if you're tuning in from North America at this hour during your holiday. It is 11:30 in Paris and Frankfurt, 10:30 here in London. Let's have a look at our headline stories. Energy stocks, the biggest gainers on for the time being. We are expecting more news on the deal later in the day. Steel giant ThyssenKrupp has posted full-year results in line with expectations and says it has around 4 billion euros for a big acquisition over the medium term. EBITDA for 2000 rose 32% to 2.55 billion euros. Sales were up 15% to 37.21 billion euros. The group expects sales for the coming year to climb around 5%. That is based on favourable European fundamentals sustaining growth, and that countering a slowing US economy. Thyssen also says a fresh attempt at a steel IPO is not now an issue. You may remember there was a great deal of talk, but not a great deal of carry-through. ThyssenKrupp trading up 2.7%. Further consolidation of Europe's stock market still very much on the cards. Euronext's success is one blueprint, but agreement clearly hard to find. Nasdaq or not Nasdaq, OM Gruppen, the choices and the possible groupings are innumerable. We could sit here for hours and continue to guess at how they might stack up. Someone who's likely to have a much better idea is Sal Sodano. He is the CEO and chairman of the American Stock Exchange. He joins me now. What would be your guess as to how things are likely to settle down with European exchanges? I guess you're probably talking to various leaders in Europe at the moment.
On the European exchange environment for some time. The American Stock Exchange itself does have an interest in the European community, and as you might imagine, we have been having discussions with various leaders here in the European community with the intention of looking to expand the opportunities for our own marketplace on a global basis. So there's much afoot in terms of talk. I don't think it's anywhere near being settled, but we are keeping our eye on the marketplace, and we do have very strong intentions to, we being the American Stock Exchange, enter the European marketplace sooner than later.
Tell me, when you talk to the European players here, do you get the same sense of frustration that European investors have with the way bourses apparently are unable to overcome their egos and put together deals that work? Here in London, we've sat and watched the Frankfurt-London alliance fall apart. Euronext has tried at different times to make initiatives towards the Germans and the Brits, and that seems to have fallen on deaf ears. The investors in Europe are really getting quite fed up with this.
Well, if you look at the structure of Europe, there are many factors that all the exchanges need to deal with. First, the regulatory environment is not consistent across the European community. Second, you could look at history. There is ego and pride in many of the countries, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So the complexities as it relates to the European community make combination of the exchanges in Europe a little bit more difficult than they might be elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, but
so it's basically a function.
Sorry to interrupt, but Euronext has shown that the deals can be done. And at the time when the London Stock Exchange and the German exchange deal looked likely to happen, any cultural differences or any technical issues of different legal systems were swept under the carpet, in a sense. People said they weren't an issue as long as there was a will to do the deals. I mean, as an American coming into the European environment, you must have a sense of frustration with the way the Europeans are behaving.
Well, I hate to use the term frustration, but from our own perspective, we would absolutely like to get a presence in the European community sooner than later. And basically, we'll look at how progress takes place in this community and continue to work with the various parties here in the European environment, and we'll see ultimately how we can become part of the European marketplace.